Hi guys. So today I'll be reviewing Jupiter's Legacy, the fall season, and there'll be spoilers. And before I get into the show, I guess I'll be starting my I'm gonna be doing an induction for my job tomorrow. But yeah, so I'm not really sure when I'm gonna be streaming tomorrow, basically, because tomorrow I always like stream GTA, and I was gonna stream The Last of Us multiplayer because I haven't done that for a long time since like it was either earlier this year or last year. But yeah, I'll see. I'll let you guys know. But yeah, guess I'll just get into the review. I don't want it to be too long of a review. I want to start. I want to start, shortening my reviews because sometimes they're a bit long. But yeah. All right. So spoilers now in three, two, one. All right. So yeah, man, this was a great show. Definitely one of my favorite shows this year. I mean, I seem to watch Invincible. I mean, I've read a lot of the comic, but I haven't read all of it. And I've heard great things about this show, and there's been a lot of memes as well. And yeah, I mean, Invincible, not Jupiter's Legacy, but yeah. But after watching season one of Jupiter's Legacy, anyway, I'd definitely say I definitely want to read the comics now. Yeah, because definitely is a very interesting show because this is definitely like the best show I've seen when it comes to depicting like. Well, wouldn't say that. Like I'd say like if you've ever imagined like what would life be like if superheroes actually existed in real life is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And what would be the consequences for having those kind of things in our lives, like superheroes, villains, the code which our main character follows, Sheldon. Yeah, the well, yeah, he's like the the highest level of heroes in this universe, and then the villain is actually his best friend George, someone who used to be friends with in the 1920s, late 1920s to who knows when he betrayed him. Yeah. Because there was all superheroes together. But I guess I'll talk about each character's storyline and then the ending and then I mean what could happen in season two. But I'm going to read the comics, so I don't know if I'm already going to have some ideas when I catch up with that. Yeah, who knows? But yeah. So who should I start with? I guess the father, Sheldon, Jupiter. Well, Utopian. That's what he's called anyway. His proper name, superhero name. But yeah. Because basically, I guess because this season kind of focuses a lot on his past when it's focusing on the main character, than the present day with Utopian or Sheldon. I don't even know what to call him. Like what makes sense because basically, I guess I'll go back to that storyline where I guess you could say that the Great Depression happened and just everything fell apart financially and just the business just kind of went afloat and his father killed himself. Like I kind of discussed that in like my the first episode review that I did. Yeah. And we're basically getting to see how he handled things afterwards, but something weird started to happen to him, and I just don't know if it was connected to that watch. Like he started to, like these things started to happen to him where he was getting like visions, like he was also seeing his dead father, and people just thought he was going crazy, like his wife and his brother. Yeah, his brother. I mean, I'll get to him, but yeah, because his wife was very worried about him, and his wife told his best friend George to look out for him because when we first meet George, he seems like those kind of posh people who just just have everything easy, but at least he cared enough to try help his friend. Yeah. But yeah, I'll get fully to George's story, soon. But yeah, but basically, he gets to a point where he wants to try. Where he starts to do these drawings at the same time, and George finds these drawings and shows them to people, his loved ones, and basically he kind of goes along with what well, he kind of tries to make sense of what these drawings actually mean. Like they're not just crazy drawings, because he goes in and out of trying to get out of recovery. Because people just think he's grieving, from his father's death, but things are actually happening to him, and he just he can't get over it. Because probably to Sheldon, like it felt like he was just grieving and he was just seeing things, but then seeing specific locations in his mind, it's just meant that something was calling out to him, and he needed to assemble some of the people that he's met in his life. Like, I guess someone who would be his future wife, Grace. Yeah, she was like a reporter who kind of did a bit of a news story on his dad, and to think that they actually got together in the end. Yeah, man. Because later on, like she's the one who kind of holds him together and help him get to the point where they make it to the island, and yeah, we'll get to the rest. George, he was important because like that was Sheldon's best friend, and without him, I wonder if if Sheldon would have killed himself, because he did say he was getting to that point, but thanks to George, like he kept him together. Yeah, when he told that story about his family and not really getting to know him because they died much, sooner, like when he was younger. So yeah, he probably doesn't even remember him that well. So yeah. Also, like, there's this other guy, Fitz. Yeah, basically, he worked for Sheldon's father, but then like when everything got ruined, they basically was out of a job. Well, Fitz was out of a job, and his father. So when it gets to a point where you know Sheldon tries to find this place, he gets to a lead, and then he finds this guy. I can't really remember his name, but I just know him as Wed from that '70s show because it's basically the same actor. Yeah, because he basically kind of tells him like the kind of things that just because he knows what he's going through because he went through the same thing, and it just leads him onto a new trail, and he tries to assemble a team together to like find this trail. He eventually does find it, and that's when they find this island that actually gives them the powers. And it seems like the islands are kind of alive as well, because it kind of basically chose those six people specifically to go to this island. So really, it wasn't really him going crazy like Sheldon. It was actually it actually led to something. Yeah, and that's where everyone got powers. But if it would have made more sense if only a certain few people, or those six people, got powers. But what would the show be? I mean, they could focus on some of them just turning on each other, because that does happen in this show. Like George, he turns on the group, and it seems like okay. I guess I'm going to talk about the brother now. Yeah. So yeah, the brother. Yeah, what should I say about him? Walter. Yeah, Walter. Basically, he was kind of like a control freak, especially when his father was alive, with the business and stuff and how things should go. And when he lost his father, like he just didn't know what to do. But then it seems like for the longest time he just followed his brother's code and just lived by it. But then he's just seen many things happen with all the wars and everything that's happening in the world, and it's just got to a point where things are out of control, and heroes are starting to die. Like these villains are starting to basically win. Even if they take them down, they still get a chance to get back up and just kill more superheroes or innocent people. So Walter's kind of on the side of George, because that's the reason why George left the group. Because this group is kind of like the Justice League, in a way. But yeah, it seems like they eventually kind of split apart. Yeah, and it seems like Walter's kind of done a plan to get rid of get his son away from the Utopian by making him think like, wait, should I actually be more on the side of what George was thinking, or because he does want to live up to his father's legacy, but then all these things that are happening, like these villains killing his friends. He killed his best friend. He did, and he had to go to his funeral, and people was thanking him for killing Black Star, which we actually found out that Black Star was actually a fake Black Star, so that wasn't the real Black Star. But we found out, like by the end, we found out that Walter actually was the one who did that, and was trying to put all the blame on George. Yeah, that was his plan, his master plan, man. So I'm kind of a bit confused by the ending, because like for the last 10 minutes I wasn't fully paying attention. So going into the next season, is Walter the main villain, or George, or was that just like a setup or something? I have no idea. Maybe he wants George to be free so he could kind of in a way help him with his plan without even knowing. Yeah. I guess I could talk about a little bit about the daughter. So yeah, the daughter, yeah, basically she was supposed to like live up to the Utopians, legacy, but instead she just had this messed up life. She went on drugs and everything. Yeah, and then it gets to a point where George's son gets close to her when he's like trying to do like a steal a Pacific thing, but then it kind of goes wrong with his team, and his team gets taken out by the Utopian's daughter, Chloe. And that's when Chloe kind of gets with George's son. So the son's called Hutz, is it? I think so. But But yeah, Hutz was basic. I think his plan was to get close to the Utopian and maybe get something from her because I guess she took his drugs and man, her life's just kind of like a train wreck in a way. And somehow these two just click. Like the world's, the son of the world's greatest villain and the daughter of the world's greatest hero, like together, which is something that they kind of say in the episode. Like I think it was the last episode. Like that shouldn't really mix. So I just don't know by the end. Like they kind of separate even though like she was getting to a point where wait, is she gonna be a bad guy when she helps Hutch like steal something that he was trying to get for like I guess most of the season. Yeah, because if he didn't get it, like let's just say people was gonna probably kill him. And yeah, who should I focus on now? Maybe the mother. Yeah, Grace, because Grace like she started off as a character. I didn't even know what to think about her that much really, just another superhero, but then they kind of show her in the flashback, viewed as someone who you think Sheldon would never like, but then they actually get together because she kind of held him together as well, especially when they got closer to the island and stuff, like when it was on the boat. Yeah, like she kind of held him together, and because things probably would have escalated if it wasn't for her, especially when they actually on the island and people are just like trying to kill each other. Like she kind of helped with that situation as as well. So I guess sometime after they got the powers, they ended up together. Yeah. And, they had the kids, Grace and Brandon. Wait, did I just say... Lol, I don't know why I did that. It's not like a John Dory situation where the dad's name is the same as the, father's name because, Chloe I meant, not Grace, because that's the mother. Yeah. Because that's who they had kids. And they're just trying to make them, stay, like, into following the code. I mean, the daughter didn't really turn out to be a hero anyway. She was like some fashion person or something. Yeah, and she's not really happy with her life. So I just wonder what they're gonna do with her in season 2. But who knows what knowledge I'll get from the comics. For Brandon, he's just trying to follow in his father's footsteps, but his father thinks he's not going to be, that great of a superhero. And after that episode 1 ending, like he had huge doubts that man he could possibly ruin his legacy and kind of ruin this thing that they've had going for so long. The trust of the government and stuff like that could all mess up if Brandon went in the one direction, like George, and it seems like Walter's trying to do the same thing too. But putting all the blame on George, which is kind of a smart play too. Yeah, if you think about it. But yeah, George. I guess I'll talk about him. So yeah, George. He seemed like he was a nice guy. At first, it just seemed like some rich guy who didn't really have any care in the world. But then you start to see that he actually did care, apart from Walter, because Walter and George always had a rivalry. Yeah. But to get the powers, they had to work together. Well, just get along. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be here anyway, where they had powers. But yeah. What should I talk about next? Because yeah, George, like I said, he does betray him. But it's kind of weird that George didn't. Well, it's maybe the reason why Walter didn't really betray straight away is because he still believed in his brother back then, and then it got to a point where he was probably like, wait, maybe George was right this whole time because look how the world's just falling apart. And yeah, by the end, like he decides to do that, but man, using his daughter to get to basically get what he needs to bring his plan together by framing George and then killing his daughter. I mean, going that far because the daughter doesn't really want to. Because daughter was gonna like spill the secret that he's keeping, what he's planning to do. So then he kills his daughter. I mean, she was asking for a lot of money. Like one moment she says 1 million to do this thing at the end. To go inside Black Star's clone's mind or whatever they was doing, which they was able to talk to George, and then George was trying to kill Walter or whatever he was trying to do. Because it seems like Walter was just like was in a bad situation, and then Grace, saved him. Because Walter, it seems like he's gonna break out. So Black Star was only gonna break out because of Walter. And could you say that Brandon would have died because of Walter? Because he was in a situation where if he saved his son, I guess what would happen again? But he wouldn't even been able. Well, he'd have to kill Black Star and break the code that he's been following for so long, or he could let his son die and then take out the villain. But then he lost his son. But luckily, yeah, Fitz's daughter, she's able to, help out. And if it wasn't for Brandon, like she would have probably quit because seeing her best friends die, just all of them die, all these heroes, she was ready to quit. But then, Brandon was able to, you know, help her, stay as a hero and not give up and, still stick with the code, even though it seems like it's letting people down. But, Brandon just basically used his father's words with what he said because, the code isn't really an easy thing to follow. Otherwise, just giving up is like the easy way out, and you just need to stick by it. I mean, I can't remember the words exactly, but it's definitely a great code. And like the time when he said it to her, Petra, like that, he probably meant it as well. And yeah, it's kind of hard to make these reviews like 10 minutes, but I'm trying to think what else before I talk about possibilities of what they could do for season two. I've kind of said what they could do. I mean, but should I say what I think of this season anyway? I mean, I was like from the first episode, I was thinking like, whoa, this is going to be like my favorite show of 2021, and man, it could be better than The Boys. But for a lot of the episodes, it seems like the men are just building up the show instead of giving us what we really want, which kind of sucks because the past storyline gets the most focus with this season to set up things. And this really feels like a setup season, even though like there's like 3 or 4 like spectacular episodes. I didn't really talk about one thing with the wife as well, because basically, when Chloe was, I think, overdosing, I guess Hutch was the one who saved her, and then they got together. And then the one who like always had her back, her friend, she basically was trying to be there for her. Like she was like Ghost something, I can't remember her name, but those like best friends. She kind of went out with Chloe's brother as well. Basically, just they spent their life together through high school and stuff. But then the last time she seen her, like I mean, the last time she was alive, because she does die. Like she was with the mother, but then I guess a villain breaks out and kills her, and that was kind of messed up. Yeah, and that's when the mother was starting to have doubts, and then he killed the guy as well. Seeing her daughter's best friend just get killed just like that in front of her, man, and the way how she died as well. It kind of reminded me of a Walking Dead character death, if you know which one I mean, where like they're finding it hard to speak in their last moments, and then they just die. Yeah, yeah. So several family members are just not really believing in the code. I mean, you could say just about all of them are not believing in the code, and it's just Sheldon who's trying to hang on to it. But man, by the end, you could say that the son is still with it, but Sheldon's not really sure if he truly believes because he goes to Walter for help because he doesn't want to lose his son. But then Walter's kind of behind his back as well. So really, who's really on his side by the end of the season? Yeah, and what could that lead into going into season two? I mean, so what could they think for this last minute? What could they do? I know they're going to bring Walter into the story. I feel like we need more flashbacks with each character. Like Fitz, he needs a flashback, but focus on him. But because we do get to see like the kind of Justice League table with the characters, which was cool. Yeah, that was a cool moment. Yeah, at the end in the last episode, yeah, that was pretty cool. Seeing the teams together when it was actually all united back in the day in like the 1930s or so. Yeah, when it was at their prime before they started betraying each other and stuff, and everyone just fell apart. Yeah, that was a cool scene. I'd like to see more flashbacks on that then, but that's probably what they're gonna do. But give each character a focus. Like I want to see more from Fitz. I want to see more from Grace and how having how she got with Sheldon and stuff. Like they're probably gonna do that, and they're probably gonna show us why George betrayed him. I mean, we've got some ideas why he betrayed him, but I want to see like the full explanation. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, it was definitely a great first season. I mean, better than The Boys. Like I said, it has potential, but since in the end it was more of a setup season for possibly a great season two, that could be better than season one because a lot of these episodes felt like setup for some reason. Yeah, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. When it does come, and I definitely did. Check out Invincible next. Um, as for Supernatural, I guess I'll definitely have seasons. Is it seasons for? Wait, I can't remember what I'm on right now with the videos. I think it's 13 and 14 that I'll be reviewing on Saturday. Yeah. And then well, I don't know when I'm going to finish season 15 because I'm taking my time with that season. Yeah, because I am watching a lot of stuff right now, and I'm going to be starting work now, so yeah. And I need to sort my schedules and how that's going to go now. But yeah. Yeah, guys, that's the end of my review. Hope you really enjoyed this show, like I did. Can't wait for season 2. I'll see you in the next one. Peace, guys.
One look, the heat is rising, and I've been cold for so long. One touch and we're igniting.